Hey, everyone, welcome to TL Performance Podcast. This is Coach Tom. Different types of training. I say it all the time. I write in blogs, and maybe people aren't really sure what I mean when I say not everything is strength training. And these days, I think that's just about what everyone does. They just do the same shit. And it is so predictable. I cannot tell you how many times when I have a new client that's having a challenge in training and I say, well, let's see what you're doing, or let's see the program that you followed. First off, if they had a program they followed, which is also not common. I can pretty much guarantee that they're going to do lots of squats. They're going to do lots of lunges, whether it be regular or variations on lunges. They're probably going to do push-ups. They're going to do, kettlebells is pretty common. Sometimes maybe they're flipping tires or pushing sleds or using battle ropes or doing all kinds of crazy, what do they call them? Mountain climbers or I forget some of the silly names that exercise. And some of these I did. So it's surprising to me sometimes that this is still what's popular because, well, it is surprising and it's not surprising. And the reason it's not surprising is because Ian has gotten wiser. So there isn't an opportunity to publish his work, uncredited anymore. You can't plagiarize it and you wouldn't be able to do that. And he's also, a little more careful. And so it's been about 20 years since he first more than 20 years since he first published his Get Buffed books. So I'll just do a short plug for those. That if you're new to, to my channel, or you're new to me, and you haven't heard it before, or you don't know who Ian King is, and you never heard of King Sports International, aka KSI. I am a high-level coach in the KSI coaching program. Then you are missing out because there is a wealth of information that is available to you that you probably weren't aware of. And the Get Buff books are some of the best in how to strength train, how to structure your training, and how to do it properly. So when he published those books in the early 2000s, there were some plagiarizers in the marketplace that published those books word for word in many cases. And that kind of is how the functional training movement came about, because Ian said training should be sport specific. It should. And I don't like to use the term functional anymore because it's taken a ungodly twist. I exaggerate, but it's taken a twist. And then, a company came around and they created a whole marketing strategy around it, functional training and functional training equipment that came out year after year. And I don't know if it still does, but I wouldn't be surprised if it still does. And it got crazy and went in all different directions. And I participated in a lot of that because I didn't know any better at the time, until I started to question whether it was really working. And I knew that my body wasn't really feeling better. It was kind of getting worse, and I didn't know how to solve the problem. And in particular, when I was around 30 years old and I was really focused on doing functional training and also very heavy weight training, I was experiencing regular back pain. Those were not fun days. Knee pain, shoulder and neck pain. And I just didn't want to accept that a 30-year-old should have those things happening in their body. And I really wanted to find out what I could do about it. And that was kind of what led me to Ian. I first went to a seminar of his and met him a few years prior to that, but that was when I was truly looking for an answer. And I found it in his work, in his books. So if you are the type that wants to find the best way to train and you're always interested in learning and you like history and all that kind of stuff, where things came from, then you will really enjoy the Get Buff books. And not only that, you'll get better results and you won't get injured. Or if you are injured, you might find ways to get out of being injured, because that's another trend. I'm kind of getting off topic now. I'm forgetting what I was even going to talk about. But trends in training and personal trainers, they become a massage therapist, or they get some certification in therapy, so that when they injure their clients, then they're also your therapist. And that's double the bucks. I get to hurt you and then I get to rehab you. I get to rehab you and then I get to hurt you. And that's unfortunate. And I did participate in a gym that did that in the past. And regrettably, that was one of the reasons that I wanted to find a better way. And I put up with it for a bit until, this is maybe not a story that I've shared as publicly. I was running someone else's training program, and I looked at the program, and I knew the person had back troubles, and I saw the program, and I thought to myself, this is not going to help this guy's back troubles. But because of I was trying to make that relationship work, I reluctantly agreed to run the program. And sure enough, he hurt his back during the program. So at that point, I made a decision that I wouldn't do it anymore, and I'd be more vocal, because it is important. Our lives are at risk when we're, just because you have a six pack now or you have muscles, if your training isn't really well planned out, like, what are you going to feel like when you're 80? You want to be if you get to 100, right? You want to be able to like enjoy and move around, don't you? You don't want to be 100 and stuck in a wheelchair or on a bunch of drugs all the time and just basically artificially kept alive, or sitting in a chair and can't get out of it and can't move around and can't enjoy your family. Like, that's the long-term implication. It's not just, let's see what we can do in the next 6 weeks. You need to take a longer approach. Yeah, so now I did actually forget what the hell I was going to talk about. Oh, that's right. Other forms of training besides strength training. Well, let's talk about some. So what else could you do? In the mainstream, there's strength and conditioning. So what do they do besides strength training? They do conditioning. What is conditioning? Conditioning is endurance training. And it's for endurance, can be just the ability to endure whatever you do. So you're being conditioned for different sports, different activities. So there's going to be lots of different types of endurance training that you could do. And if you go to a personal trainer, you go to a gym, you're going to get strength training and you're going to get conditioning. And they even have coaches that just do that. The problem is, when you only do that, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity, and that is not helping the client and not helping the athlete, or the athlete, whether it's general population, athlete, whoever it is. If they're only doing that, what if they don't even need that? That can be a problem. So what are some other trainings you can do? You could do skills training. You could practice your sport and just work again. And that's still training. Like, let's say you're a soccer player and you want to learn how to do a corner kick better or pass the ball better. If you never practice that, you won't. Going and lifting weights, doing lunges and squats is not going to all of a sudden cause you to develop the ability to shoot more accurately or pass more softly or quickly. You do have to actually train that. And then there's speed training, which KSI does like no one else. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to, normally in the public, you do speed training. Is pretty much just, let's just try to go as fast as we can, and we'll do it in intervals or something like that. And basically just another form of endurance training. And we're going to hope that we get faster as a result. And, there's probably a few people that might work for, but I highly doubt that many will get anything out of it, but they just don't know any better. So that one I know that we don't talk about as much in KSI, because not publicly, because we can do it so much better, but we treat it as more of a skill development. It doesn't need to be an endurance session. And that's what I will do, is keep it at that. So we went over strength training, endurance training, speed training. We didn't even talk about flexibility. Flexibility is actually training. How about that? You could be relaxing and you'd be training. But not many people do that. Nope. How much time do people usually spend flexibility training? I'll give you a moment. Did you say 5 minutes? You either said 5 minutes or you said 30 seconds, right? Or not at all. So if you did, let's say you're in a strength program right now, and then if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you are. What if your trainer or whoever you follow said, I want you to do 30 seconds of strength training today, or 5 minutes of strength training? What would be your reaction? You'd probably say, that's fucking bullshit. Nothing's going to happen if I do that. Well, guess what? That's the truth with flexibility too. So I'll let that one sink in. You got to do more. And the last part of it is what you do, what you prioritize is what you get. So if something's lacking, why aren't you doing it? Just thought. Anyway, I hope I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the TL Performance Podcast. As always, you can find me on social media. You can email me. You can comment below. I probably should figure out a way to learn how to use technology and put my contact info on here so that I don't have to verbalize it every time. But my email is tom@tlperformancela.com. And that's because my website is tlperformancela.com and my Instagram is coach.tomleggett. And there's my Facebook, which I think I forget on some videos too, which is TL Performance LA. And yeah, you can always reach me, follow me, see what I'm up to. Ask questions because I prefer to answer questions rather than just talk. And that way it can be helpful for you. And you can always reach out to me if you want help with your training too, because I can help you to make it more individualized and geared towards what you are doing, what you want to achieve, and what you might be having struggles with. So look forward to talking to you. Look forward to meeting you. Until next time, this is Coach Tom. See you.